Welcome to the INXO online talk series, Arts Beyond Distance. I'm Ep1. I'm from the INXO Arts and Culture Foundation. I'll be your moderator for coming 5 evenings. So this platform is created to bring distance closer. We're going to feature one Malaysian artist every single night and to introduce them and to talk to them about their motivation, their challenges, their process of creation, and so hopefully to know them better. So it's like an up close and personal session with the artists. Each of them will pick one of their own work to talk to us about it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's put your hands together. We're going to welcome Khairi Anwar from Anomalies Production today. Hello, Khairi.
Hello, Ep1. Thank you for having me. Hello.
Yeah, so would you like to introduce a little bit about yourself, or who you are and what you do?
Okay, so my name is Khairi Anwar. I am a playwright first, director second, producer third. And then I've been doing work with Anomalies Production, which is I am an artistic director and also the managing director of Anomalies Production. Yeah, and I've been doing practicing and creating theatre for the past 5-6 years. Yeah.
Right. I've known Khairi for a while now, a few years, I think. But we don't really have much chance to speak more about work, about your work, about our work. So yeah, but I would like to start this session with a little quick question challenge.
Boleh.
Yeah, so we're gonna have 10 questions, very short one. And if you can answer with one word answers without explanation, you know that instinct comes and you just answer straight away without thinking much. For all of you who are watching this, Khairi doesn't know what questions I'm going to ask. It's all improvised right now.
I'm
so
nervous.
It's new. So yeah, we ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your favorite city?
Shah Alam.
Question number 2. Yeah. If you could be a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Being invisible.
Question 3. What are you afraid of?
Heights.
Question 4. Name 3 items you would bring to a spaceship for outer space travel.
Naruto books, Maggie, and toothbrush.
Question number 5. What would you do to battle climate change?
Walk.
Question number 6. What does love means?
Commitment.
Question number 7. Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Okay. Question number 8. What is your favorite food?
Rendang.
Question number 9. What time of the day is most inspirational for you?
3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, last one. What is the first thing you would like to do after MCO?
Go to the beach.
Okay, we're done. That's good. Yeah. So you mentioned the most inspirational time for you is 3 a.m. So does that mean you always stay up late and create?
Yes, because I think all my scripts that I've written so far, the most productive hour is when like 3 a.m. in the morning up until 6 to 7 a.m. Yeah, so normally I will like book up my laptop at time, and then I will like slowly typing it, but it will be like a very slow progress up until 2-3 a.m. and then I will type very fast. So yeah, I love 3 a.m. in the morning when everyone is sleeping, when no one is catching me, when no one is texting and calling me. So that's the best hour.
So does it mean you stay up late until 3 a.m. and then you become like really, really productive, or you sleep for a bit and then you wake up at 3 a.m.?
I sleep before. For example, if I work until 6, and then I will sleep for a while, maybe 2 hours from 8 to 10, and then I will like wake up and then like prep for my owl activity, which is writing lah. Yeah, so I will sleep for a while. I need at least 2 hours of sleep before I write.
Yeah. And we spoke about superpower. So if you could be a superhero, what superpower would you have? Invisible?
Yeah.
What would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I've been around people for quite some time, so I just want to disappear for like 5 to 10 years, do my own thing, not have any expectation. No one, I just want to run away from expectation for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything to do with the introvert character that you have?
I think so. I think because I've been because in the theater you have to meet people. During rehearsal, you need to meet collaborators, actors, light designers, sound designers. So so for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been meeting a lot of people, and then I've been doing work for other people lah. So I just need some time for myself at the moment, and then I'm actually enjoying very much enjoying the RMO period because I just have there's no rehearsal. Yeah, I have more time for myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually asked Khairi to pick one work of him to talk about that work. So he proposed this work of POHLITHIK.
Yeah.
So before we go into talking about POHLITHIK, could you maybe share with us how did you actually started with theatre?
Oh, I started with theatre. I started with theatre when I was studying in law school in YTM Chala. I actually, after SPM, I wanted to study film, but my mom, being a typical Asian mom, she of course doesn't let me. So after SPM, my mom asked me to study something professional, so I took law instead. So during law school, I was still trying to find film, but I cannot find any friends that would want to do films with me. But instead, I stumbled upon theatre instead in UITM. And then I found out that most of my favorite and many good actors in Malaysia and outside of Malaysia, for example, like Sharifah Amani, Namron, Beto Kushairi, Amirul Effendi, and a few other people, they have a theatre background. And then I found out that if you have a good theatre background as an actor, you will do great in any acting career out there because you have discipline in theatre. I think that's how I started with theatre.
So is it in the beginning already you wanted to be a playwright, or it's along the way it evolved, or how did that happen?
I did not plan to be a playwright because I don't think I can write well. At first, this is back in 2014. But I think I always have a good idea, like a good concept, good idea, good storyline, but I don't think I can write. But then when we first registered Anomalies outside of UITM, we registered Anomalies as a company outside of UITM in 2014. So in 2015, we need to have a consistent production. So me being the leader of Anomalies, I need to show by example, to lead by example. So I write my own play. My first play back in 2015 is called Theatre Bangsa. We did not expect it to be I don't have much expectation for Theatre Bangsa, but it get like a full house for like the 3 days that we do shows, and then based on Theatre Bangsa, people are following Anomalies from both English theatre scene and the Malay theatre scene as well, which I think is good. And then people keep saying after that, like, hey, can you write more? I was like, can I write? Do you think Bangsa is good? So yeah, so from there onwards, I know that I can write. So before this, I didn't know that I can write. Yeah.
So why is it Anomalies? This name is a special, any reason?
Anomalies, the name started when we first have like AGM of some sort inside UITM. So Anomalies, the name Anomalies was a suggestion by the advisor, which is the lecturer of the club. So she suggested, her name is Cik Musruhaizi Mustafa. She's still working in UITM now. So she suggested the word Anomalies, and then as a group of friends who were in the EGM, we think that Anomalies is a cool name, and then we Google, and Anomalies means someone who has special interest in creative things, or something along that line. So we stick to Anomalies up until now. because I think that name is quite cool, and I think it attracts our target market, which is the younger generation. So yeah.
So what is the focus or the direction that Anomalies take over the years? How many works have been putting up, and yeah, what kind of work?
Okay, since 2015, there have only been like a full-length play. There's only like 3 writers. The first full-length writer was Nazrul Anas. So he wrote and directed the first play of Anomalies outside of UiTM in 2015 in March, and then I write Bangsa, and then there's a second full-length play that we did. Another full-length playwright is Nel Hanan. So she wrote and directed Polos in 2017. So full-length wise, I've been the most prominent writer and director in Anomalies. So since 2015 up until 2019 or this year, Anomalies have been producing at least 5 full-length shows and a few short plays. But this year, because this year is Anomalies' 5th year, so I don't like the idea of like a certain theatre company is only attached to one name. For example, like for the past 4 or 5 years, Anomalies name have been attached to mine, Khairi Anwar. I don't like that. I don't personally like that, because I like Anomalies to be known as a company that has a few writers, different background writers who have different type of skills, different way of writing, different directors. So this year we were supposed to have a few other writers. For example, like my close friend Azmi Hood was supposed to write and direct another play. Arjun Tanaraju, who's like a friend of mine, who was supposed to write Ahmad Salam in July this year, and then a few other directors. So yeah, so I want people to know Anomalies not by my own name. I want people to know Anomalies by having like a bunch of young kids that do things differently. So yeah, so the main direction has always been like to tell Malaysian contemporary stories. Even if you want to tell about Hang Tuah punya story, it has to relate to current situation. Yeah, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So coming into POHLITHIK, so could you tell us more, like why do you started to work on this piece called POHLITHIK?
Okay, POHLITHIK, the name, the spelling of POHLITHIK in POHLITHIK is different. It's POHLITHIK. So Po is a Chinese name, Gantian Po. Li is Ali, Tik is Kartik. So it's a story of 3 friends staying in the same room in University of Malaysia, not Malaya, UM. And then they have similar interests in poetry. The idea came about when I first met Jamal in 2016. So me and Jamal have had this idea since 2016, and the first idea and concept was supposed to create like a poetry / theatre kind of play, where we can actually find the balance of poetry and theatre, and put it in some unique way lah. But then it doesn't work that way so much, because we've been trying to write using that concept, but we couldn't find a suitable storyline. But then in 2018, the PRU happened, where the opposition, which is now the government, which is now not the government anymore, wins the whole thing. And then I told Jamal that, hey, actually back in 1969, the first person, or the group of people that pushes these politicians to have like a manifesto is actually UM students. Isn't it weird that back then in 1969, when a person masuk university, literally everyone in Malaysia will actually celebrate and listen to these students. But now in 2020, 2019, when there's a student who speaks up his mind or her mind, people are macam, budak-budak muda ni tak bersyukur ke? So yeah, so it's different back then, because when you masuk university, especially University Malaya back then, which is the only university in Malaysia, literally everyone dekat kampung, dekat bandar will listen to anything that the students say. So they have this one a students or a speakers corner where they can actually naik and then they can actually talk about anything, and the media will be ready there to take on anything that the student is saying. So that's how powerful students back then. But now I don't think that we have that student power anymore. Maybe because of AUKU, maybe of the restrictions that the government put, maybe which me and Jamal doesn't agree with that lah. So now with POHLITHIK, with the play POHLITHIK, what we did was we tried to give back the student power through the voice of student in the play. But we know that if a student naik atas pentas and then just give a speech, people will not listen to it. So now the contemporary way to deliver a point or an idea is through poetry. So it's quite contemporary now. So when people give a speech, public will tend to not listen to it if it's very preachy. But if it's like a poetry or if it's like an art way of delivering thing, people will be a bit more open to listen to it. So that's how the story masuk lah.
So during the process of writing this script, I understand there is this research progress that you did. Yeah. So how did that went? And yeah.
Okay, so when me and Jamal decided to lock the story to be about student voice using poetry, so we know that will be like the main trajectory of the whole story. So the first thing that we did is we did our research of who were the student leader back in 1960s, 1970s. So the first person that we met was Fahmi Reza. So Fahmi Reza is he did this research on student movement, student power. And then when we did an interview with him, he gave us a few names of people. One of it is, what was his name? Dr. Kong Kim Hong, which is now he's the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Help University, if I'm not mistaken. And the other one is Syed Hamid Ali, which is he's now residing in Batu Pahat. So Dr. Kong Kim Hong was the president of AMSU. AMSU is University Malayan Student Union. And Datuk Syed Amir Ali was the deputy. So back then, race was not the issue lah. So you can find like a Chinese leader and then like a Malay naik chancellor and then naik ketua and then Indian. So we went and interviewed these people, and then they told us lots of very inspiring stories about how they started doing manifesto. They traveled, like before the May 1969 tragedy happened, they were the one who actually traveled from UM to Penang to Johor to Melaka, through all the states, until when police think that, hey, this is not right, like why are people listening to these students, and then they have to stop them before they go to Kuantan. So that's how powerful they were. So that's the research process at first. So we met Fahmi Reza, and Fahmi Reza gave us the two names. And then after that, Dr. Kong Kim Hong and then Syed Ali gave us a few books for us to read. And then we studied we also interviewed a few current student leaders, and then why can't they be as strong as the students before? So a lot of meeting people, a lot of reading, a lot of seeing the government decision after one tragedy. So we found out that after May 1969 is when AUKU is first. AUKU is the akta, the law that government created to prevent student untuk masuk any political parties. So AUKU was enacted in 1971. And then right there onwards, the student have no power to speak at all to the public because they cannot join any political parties. Before then, students can voice out, hey, this political party is correct, but they need this. This political party is correct, but they need this. But now, if any student in our country speaks anything about politics, they will be like banned by the university. They even get buang from university. So I don't think that's right lah. So
did that title POHLITHIK came towards the end or in the very beginning, or
Yeah, in the that was in the
planned?
very beginning. So
Yeah.
so since the very beginning, 2016, we know that we want to create story about three best friends from three different races with three different skin color. So yeah, because now, so one of the person that we interviewed was a UKM student leader. She said that in UKM, even though UKM doesn't announce it out loud, but UKM segregate people by race. So if you are an Indian person, you will normally be put in the same room as an Indian people. So Chinese, Malay, Malay. It doesn't sound odd because maybe that is like easier for them to mingle around lah. But when they don't mix people in university, where that is the place for people to know people, it actually creates and deepens the gap between one race to another. So you see people going and makan in the cafeteria with their own races. So like the first So me and Jamal created the first scene of POHLITHIK is so Ali. So one of the friend is already like in the room. So the and then his another name is Danny. So Danny masuk. Danny is a Chinese student. He enters the room and then he sees a Malay student inside the room. And he says, "Huh? This never happens before." And then the Indian best friend came into the room and said, "Huh? Why is there a Malay and a Chinese person in my room?" So we started the whole thing with that. So it doesn't. It looks funny, but that's what's happening right now in our government universities. I'm talking about government universities. I don't know what's happening. I don't think these things happen in private unis. I think this happens a lot in government universities.
For those of you who are following the live video, we are going to share this video clip of POHLITHIK on the INXO Arts and Culture Foundation Facebook later after the session. So the scene that Khairi mentioned earlier, that he went into the room and then see this another person, that you can see it on a video clip later if you click into the link. So it seems like there's quite a lot of content that in the research process that you collected. So do you think you have used all the content that you had, or do you think in the future you're going to do another piece based on this this research that you have done?
There's a lot of informations and data that we gained throughout the research that we didn't use. I think we only used around 15 to 20% of the whole thing, because even though we have like a lot of things that we garnered through the research, but the main thing is always the story. So as long as, because we don't want the play or the script to be pushy. So we want people to understand the story, and if they have enough interest in the story, they will do their own research. Or if we do a second play or a subsequent play out of this, people would want to watch it. So my main thing whenever I do my research, whenever I write a play, is always to have like a good story to tell. And then if they have like even like triggered, or even if they feel this one feel of wanting to know more, and then I think I can write maybe a subsequent play out of it.
So then we come to this question of between arts and activism. How do you personally see the relationship between arts and activism? Because I think there were people always telling me all artists are activists. Do you agree with that, or do you believe? What is your take on the relationship between arts and activism?
That's a good question, Jen. I think. Okay, this is my own personal opinion. I've never thought of this before. But now, when you ask me this question, I think a good artist will always be an activist, because I just had this conversation before with my friend, saying that why most artists or writers or directors or creators seen as like as those who always oppose anything that the government do, is because artists always do research, and then when they find something through the research that they don't find truthful enough for them, they will keep on digging. They don't stop there. They don't just accept a news from Bulletin Utama or Utusan Malaysia and stop there. When they feel something that is wrong, artists will normally go and find a bit more and ask people. So that's what artists do. Because whenever, for example, like even with politics, whenever I know that, one of the disheartening thing that I found during my research to politics is, if I may like scoot the conversation a bit, is Syed Hamid Ali, which is one of the people that we interviewed, was a victim that, because Tunku Abdul Rahman, in his book when Tunku Abdul Rahman writes about what happened during May 1969, Tunku Abdul Rahman accused Syed Hamid Ali for being the student leader, for being a communist student leader inside which he was not. He was accused by it. So now I know that all politicians, we cannot trust politicians like that, like straightforward. I used to be like a Dr. M, Tun M punya fanboy. I'm not anymore. Because so whenever I write a new play, I find new things. So that makes me a bit more berkobar-kobar to know more. So when I find things that, for example, like, because I thought like Tunku Abdul Rahman is the most nicest person of all, that he would not do anything like that. But it's a scapegoat thing. When you point one mistake to a person, every blame will go to that person, and the keamanan of the country is terjaga already, because people know if we buang or remove this person from the country, technically the masalah is now gone. But it's not like that. This is how politicians do their things. So I think now I am an activist to whenever I do new play. For example, like after politics, now I think I'm a bit more interested in politics and political situation. When I was writing IQ Rock, I was very, very mad at our education system. So whenever I'm doing a certain research of anything and writing a few things, specific things, I will find a lot of things. And then in some sense, I've become an activist.
Yeah. I understand you are the script writer and director for POHLITHIK.
Yes.
So which role do you find it more challenging, to write the script or to direct the production?
Oh, to write. I think writers are crazy. I think writing is very hard. For example, like, I'm not discounting the fact that a director's job is very important. But if you take, for example, like 448 Psychosis, the text would not change whenever they travel. Or like Every Brilliant Thing, the text would not change. It's how the directors envision the thing to be on stage. But if the script is not a good script from the very beginning, it will not be a good play even if you have a good director. So I think for me, in my own sense, I think writing is always my main thing. And then my main job is to write a good story. And then if I have a good story already, as a director, I think my job is like maybe 15 to 20% done. I just need to make it visually interesting, and then I just need to make the actors seems to be honest, truthful, and believable on stage. So I think writing is very, very hard.
So in writing this script of POHLITHIK, what is there any most favorite scene that you want to raise?
Oh, the opening of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The opening scene is very interesting. It's actually quite disappointing to know that in Malaysia that thing is still happening. But so me and Jamal was trying to see what if every university were to put different races in the same room. I don't think there will ever be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think there will be a problem because they will.
Yeah, but again, Ijan, because I'm the type of person that wants equality to be spread all across Malaysia, and I'm sure you too. For example, one of the things that me and Jamal raised in POHLITHIK was to open up UiTM to non-Malays. And the one who raised this question is the Chinese student. So, so that's how it's a very bold thing to say, because if I were to say it out loud and if I were to write it on my Facebook, people will kecam me, like maki and marah me right away. But that's how we test how people accept theatre, because people who go and watch theatre is the one who's willing to open a bit of their minds and listen a bit more. Because politics is 3 hours. It's like a 3-hour
really?
production. Yeah. And people sit throughout the 3 hours to listen to us giving what if situation in Malaysia. So yeah.
So you did it by purpose to make it this long for 3 hours?
No. No. My style of writing is I will write. I have this writer's instinct, which I don't know a good or a bad thing. But I will know whether the story is completed or not, because some people aim for the script to be at 40 pages because 40 pages is normally 1.5 hours. I cannot. Whenever I reach 40 page, like politic, when I reach 40, because I aim at first, I aim politic to be a maximum of 60 page. When I reach 40 page, my writer's instinct says that this is 1/3 of the whole story. Yeah. So it's that bad. Yeah, and then I don't lie to myself lah. So I don't want just to cut things just because I want audience to just because there's a lot of good plays that runs for 6 hours, like Alfian Saad play in Singapore Hotel. Yeah. Lepach play in I think in London, like it happens for 6 to 8 hours. So I don't think duration is an issue as long as the story is good enough for people to just sit down and then wanting to know more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the audience take it like it's 3 hours and they are good and.
Politic got a mixed reviews because not everyone in the audience were student leaders. Because the story is a bit distant for half of the audience. But those who were student leaders who watched the play, they can relate to it right away. And those who and most of the students who went into government universities can relate to the story. But those who went to like maybe private universities, private colleges, they find it hard to relate to the stories. Because before that, I write IQ Rock. IQ Rock is a story about the student and the good teacher. So everyone have that relationship between that favorite teachers of yours. But politic have a mixed reviews because of the relationship of you when you were studying in uni. So some people can stay through 3 hours, some people cannot. So it really depends.
Yeah, of course. So with did that meet your expectation? I mean, what the audience response? Were you expecting like what's the audience response? What do you aim for the audience to take away when you stage this work? So did the response meet your expectation?
I think the response was the response that I wanted to, but the audience turnout was a bit weird. No, the audience was like we had like 80% of audience turnout, but in the poster, in politic poster, there's a line there, so politic. So and then there's a question there: what if what if Malaysians have their first Chinese prime minister? So my intention and Jamal's intention and the marketing intention was to attract a lot of Malay people to come and watch this and having this question macam, why is this Malay writers is trying to do? But we didn't get a lot of Malay audiences. We get a lot more Chinese and Indian audiences actually. Because they wanted to know what if we have like the first Chinese one. But the initial intention was to attract this Malay supremacists to come and watch the play, and then we bentangkan this whole idea to them. But we fail at that because I really want Malay people, because the issue of UiTM being open to the non-Malays in this place is quite huge. So when Danny raised the issue, he had the consequences of him being sacked, and then his parents being like threatened to death in the play. So that's where the peak of the whole story is. But people who have like a political inclination or have a political interest really appreciate the show.
Yep. So at this time of the MCO, how did that affect? Did that affect your work, or how did you respond to this situation right now?
Me and Anomalies since 2015, we have been running. I mean, like, we have been consistently producing shows and not failing at that. So every year we have at least one main productions and a few smaller productions. So, and then as you know, to create one main production takes like a lot of time, like 2 months of rehearsal, 4 months of writing scripts. So that takes a good like half a year already. But with MCO, me and Anomalies finally get the chance to stop and then really spend time on ourselves. So now me and Jimmy and a few of our Anomalies friends are now at the level of really and rethinking where Anomalies can go next. Not to say that any one of us is not doing Anomalies after MCO is done, but we have time to really get things together properly, at least. Because we're supposed to have like a show in April. We're supposed to have another show in July, September, and November this year. So it was supposed to be a crazy year, but I think this is maybe the chance for us to sit down and really think about what we're gonna do next.
Mm-hmm. Well, in a way, this is quite positive outcome of the restriction.
Yes. Because financially, Anomalies is not affected. I think a lot of people who have venues, at least, which are KL and then Lonteng, those who gain income from venue rental or shows, they will be affected. But Anomalies, because most of us have a 9-to-5 job, so financially we're not affected. So the only thing that's affecting us right now is scheduling, because we need to stage 5 main productions in the year. So so I think some of the shows might be pushed to 2021. Might we don't know yet.
Yeah. Is there any chance to restage POHLITHIK at all?
Yes. There's actually a discussion between me, Jamal, and the production and the team members to restage POHLITHIK, but we're not rushing into it, because when we wrote POHLITHIK, it's very 2019, because one of the few lines that was in POHLITHIK was like, one of the characters said, kan kita baru menang tahun lepas. So meaning tahun lepas is when we menang election lah. But now if we were to restage POHLITHIK, we need to revisit a few things. Not change the entire premise of the whole show, but we need to revisit and do some tweakings in that to make it again relatable to the whole audience members.
Yeah, sure. So there are already a few questions coming in. Okay, there's this one here. So when do you know your script is finished and ready to be staged?
Okay, when I write, and then I have this way of knowing by having a script reading with my. So when I have like a 50% of the whole script done, I will show it to my close friends first. For example, like in this case, Jamal, and then he read it and then he likes it, and then we did an audition based on the 50% of the whole script, and then after the audition, we will cast. And then we will give the script to the main cast and then let them read it out loud 50% first. And then we ask them whether, based on this 50% of the script, would you, as a person, would like to know more about what's going to happen next? So when they say yes, I think that's a good benchmark for us to keep on writing, and it's a good start of the whole play. If they say that, I don't know where this script is going, or this is a shitty script, so we will go back and revisit, and we might push some things afterwards. So I trust. So I think my friends in the production is my main benchmark. So if the actor says that they don't like the script, I will trust them, because I have good relationship with my actors and also my co-writers and collaborators, and I don't want to be short sneery. So every time I have a script done, I will let a few people read it, and then even if I feel like the script is not ready, but like I have like 10 friends that I trust, playwrights, director friends, and they say the script is ready, then I need to give myself a bit of like a second thinking code. Okay, I think the script is ready. So yeah, so that's how I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you always do that with all of your work?
Yeah, yeah. Since Bangsa Home, even Politik, since I cure out, yeah.
There's another question. So, what is the biggest fear while creating this piece of work?
Politik in before the opening night, even like the week before, me and Jamal warn our team members, the actors especially, because we kind of we kind of try to expect the worst. What if someone complains about the play being very going against the rights of the Malays or whatsoever? Because because that year 2019, there's a few plays that have been stopped by the police because the audience did make a police report. So if that thing happened, I would say that we have a contract, say that you are abide by the contract, but all the blame goes to me and Jamal. So that was the fear, because we actually actually commenting, we are raising questions about the Malay rights, about UITM. Why is like rich Malay people boleh pergi UITM and just bayar 500 ringgit per one semester when there's like a Chinese family that have to pay like 10K for one semester in a private uni. That's not fair for us. So yeah, so we raise some issues that actually might be a bit disturbing for some people. So that was the danger and the concern of it that all of us in the production knows and was aware of.
Yeah. So there's one very long question here.
Okay.
So we are now in the age where everyone wants and needs to be politically correct. There needs to be diversity. When you were working with POHLITHIK, were there people that may have commented and asked why this and that particular religion or race wasn't featured in your play? What are your thoughts about diversity and storytelling?
We had that in mind, but we know, me and Jamal know for sure that we are not representing anyone. What we want to represent is only the students. It's only the students. So the premise and the concept was just to have three different races in the room, staying in a room, and just to challenge this idea of having like equality in university. So we're not representing any race, we're not representing any certain society. We just want to raise the issue of a student. So POHLITHIK is not, even though we push the three main characters to be like from three different race, but race is not the main trajectory of the whole thing. Even though that we talk about UITM and then why the Chinese or why can't UITM why can't Chinese and Indian people enroll in UITM? But again, that's just an idea. So, but the main thing is always like, why is the student voice nowadays in 2019, 2020 is not being heard? So yeah.
And someone asked, where is POHLITHIK staged?
DPAC in 2019, April.
Yeah, so if you keep following this Facebook page, you will get information about POHLITHIK. We will post also the posters and video clips, so you find the information there. There's one more on Instagram. What should I do if I want to make it as a director or scriptwriter but have no experience at all?
Learn. I mean, like, maybe go to workshops. Go watch plays. And find the writers or directors that you feel is close to your writing or to your directing, and you have to be a bit more proactive. For example, when I first started, because I studied law, I don't have any backgrounds in performing arts. So the way that I learn how to direct or write script is by watching plays, by watching theatre shows. And then I know that I like this directing, but I don't like the script. So I like the script, but the directing is weak. So, but I judge them within myself. So whenever I feel like, oh, this script is really good, and then I will make a proactive move by searching for the writers after the show, and then macam, hey, my name is Khairi, what's your name, like how do you write? Just have like a 5-minute session with them, and then do more research on them. So yeah, I think you need, and another way is to join workshops, maybe go to class, like take a proper diploma in performing arts or diploma in writing. But that's the way of a normal way of doing it. But again, because I don't have basics or a degree or diploma in writing or directing, that's how I do things. I approach people. I go to people that I think I like, and the way they do stuff is, I think, the way that I would like to do my stuff. And then I approach them, keep in touch with them, and then I write, and then I will give them the script, and then have them to give feedbacks to me. And yeah.
Yeah, I think proactive is a keyword. It's very, very important. Yeah, because the structures and the system, how the art scene developed here, it's not so well developed.
Yeah.
So it's proactive is a very important keyword. Yeah. There's another one. So can I ask, what makes a lawyer or a law student venture into script writing?
I like films. Like after I masuk law, because I was not forced by my mom but I realized whenever I watch film, it's not about the directing, it's always about the story. So about the story, and then I learned how people communicate and have dialogues in any films. And then so I've been wanting to be a film director since I was 14, like how we discussed before this. And then, but I stumbled upon theatre. So even in law school, I know that I want to do something creative.
Yeah, so there is this related to filmmaking. So you recently ventured into filmmaking. How was your transition process of adapting to another medium of storytelling?
Oh, okay. So that's a question, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Most theatre people who have been watching my shows, POHLITHIK, IQ Rock, Attorney, Home, anything that I write, they will always have this one comment: Khairi, this is not a theatre script. This is a film script. So I've been getting a lot of that comments, and I agree to them, because the way I write my script, whenever I am in writing mode, I always picture like a video scene inside my head. For example, like if I have a scene of 3 people having a conversation, dialogue in a room, I will imagine and portray it as a video. Even when I read stuff, I'm a very slow reader, because when I finish one sentence, I will stop and I imagine it in video-wise in front of my eyes. And that's how I write. And then maybe that's why a lot of my script is some kind of very film-ish, because it's a lot of location, it's a lot of people. That's why I need to cast a lot of actors. So transitioning writing from theatre to film was not tough lah. I've been writing like that since forever. But directing in film was a bit weird, because when this is what I like when I have experience directing in theatre, because in theatre you have to deal a lot with human beings. And even the stage direction is about human. You move from one blocking to another blocking. But with film, I find that if you don't know the technical stuff, like the camera stuff, the microphone stuff, lighting stuff, whatsoever, you will not make a good film. Like I tried to direct this one short film with my theatre friends who does not have any experience in the technical stuff. The short film was shit. Like was very bad lah. So it's a different medium. So you need to know what is needed in theatre and what is needed in creating a video or film. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So that's more on a playwright and a director hat. Now there's one question that's more on a producer's hat. regarding the response that you mentioned just now, do you have any way to like attract more Malay to come and watch the show if there's a restage, so that to re-achieve your aim, or what's the main objective to restage the show in future?
I think we need to rethink on how can we attract a lot more Malay audience to watch POHLITHIK, but I don't know how, because I really thought, because I'm a Malay, so I thought like, because my mom was my mom is a UMNO supporter lah. So whenever she read this kind of thing, she will actually go and watch or listen to it. But obviously that fails when we staged it last year. But the main objective of POHLITHIK was always to question things. Yeah, it's always to challenge this ideology of betul ke there's like this hierarchy in universities, betul ke the voice of the student is not heard anymore. Yeah, so that kind of thing. So
So I think to me the performing arts or the theatre, it's the beauty of it is to wear, because it's a platform where you raise questions. Actually, it's not about giving answers. It's about giving questions, and people start thinking and discussing, and that's the one big main reason that exists in society.
Yeah, I think that most of the good, like all the good theatre shows that I watched, always left me with questions. Like I always think about the not the message of the play, but why does this happen in this play? So a good theatre will always keep me thinking about the play even after like a day or a week after the play ends. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do with my play in Script.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have any advice, or do you anything to say to those who wants to pursue a career as a playwright or a director in the theatre?
I have an advice is to keep on writing. If you want to be a playwright, keep on writing. And you cannot be very comfortable enough to say, my script is good. I think that's because, okay, this is I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing. Every time I write my script, I always judge myself. I said, this script is not good enough. This script is not good enough, until I have like a few friends that I believe and I trust to say that, hey, Khairi, this is a good script. Trust yourself. And then I always need that. So you always need feedbacks. You need to keep on writing, because my writing from 2015 up until 2020 has changed a lot. I know what is needed in dialogues. I think I put a lot more silences, because when a new playwright starts writing, they tend to have a lot to say. But as a director and now as a playwright as well, I find the most beautiful thing on stage when nothing is said. The silent moment is the most beautiful thing ever if the silent moment is filled with a lot of emotions. I love that kind of moments. So I think as a writer, you need to keep writing until you can find these moments where you can not say anything, but you are saying a lot. Directing wise, you need to keep watching a lot of shows. You cannot watch just one show or from one production. The best kind of shows is when you watch a show that have none of your friends are in, that you don't know who the directors are, that you've never been to the venue itself. Go to new places. That's how you learn how to direct a bit better from before.
Yeah. Okay, there's still one more coming in. So can you talk a bit about your thoughts on the language ghetto in the theatre scene in Malaysia? English theatre has its own audience. Malay theatre has its own audience. Right now, this moment, the ADA Awards for Chinese Performing Arts is happening at this moment. So, but the audiences don't cross over. How la theatre Malaysia nak maju if there's such a
and then you need to start breaking those walls. I think that's the interesting part. Like for me, I agree. There's some kind of walls between English theatre, Malay theatre, Chinese theatre. Chinese theatre have their ADA awards, and then everyone else have their Cameroonian Arts awards. I think the beauty about anomalies at the moment is we don't declare our company as a Malay theatre company or an English theatre company. So dekat dalam when we go to like shows of the Malay theatre company, for example Revolution Stage or Aswara, people there would think that Anomalies is an English theatre company. But when we go to Kielpek, when we go to DPEC, or we go to like an English theatre company who does the show, they will actually tell us that we are a Malay theatre company. And I don't find that rude. I find that very interesting. And then I started writing, because I don't agree with the segregation. So I started writing, for example, with POHLITHIK, we have a few Mandarin scenes, Mandarin language scenes inside. Like Arjun Tanaraju, which is a playwright that I like, is supposed to write our Anomalies' first Tamil show this year in July. So I think as long as we know and we acknowledge that this is the issue that the performing arts is having at the moment, which is the language issues. So I don't think we should blame that. I think we should encourage people from other scenes to come and watch. How? Maybe put their language in, or how? Maybe put their subtitles in their language in our show. Talk to them. We need to talk to a lot of people. Which I'm talking to you right now, Ijan.
Yeah.
I think this is a very beautiful thing. I think this is our, not responsibility. I don't want to put this to anyone. But if you realize this is an issue for you, you need to do something, which is I'm trying to do that for my part, at least with Anomalies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important to establish that conversation, because there isn't enough conversation between these different if you separate it by language between the scenes. Yeah, but because everyone is so busy creating their own work, and it's too much work to create one work, so it's very hard sometimes to.
Yeah, but so I think if you're not narcissistic about your own play, you should always find a time to watch other people play. Not just attract people from other language to come to your show, but also you have to go and watch.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I try my best to go and watch other people's show from other languages, even though I don't understand any of it.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so the very last thing, what is your artistic statement? So as an artist, why do you even become an artist?
Why do I become an artist is because I find being an artist is being myself, and I'm in the most comfortable shoes and mind space whenever I'm an artist, because I practiced as a lawyer before, and I don't like that. But I think being an artist is a huge part of any society. For example, like people have been posting around saying that if during this RMO you're watching Netflix, you're listening to music, you're enjoying all the designs in your house, you're actually appreciating artists. So artists is a very important human being, a very important part of our society. And then at the moment, why do I write a lot is because I don't like the mainstream stories that being told in TV3, Astro, Malaysian movies that focuses on comedy or like love story from novels. I think Malaysia have a lot of beautiful stories. A lot. I think I haven't even covered like 0.1% of it.
Yeah.
So why Anomalies and me and my peers in Anomalies is writing contemporary Malaysian stories. We're not staging. I'm not saying that people cannot stage Beckett's or Shakespeare's or anything. We have our own stories, guys. Okay, but yeah, that's my artist statement. I think artists always have to talk about their current situations, their struggle at the moment. Write them down, direct them down, make people aware of what we are having. Because people out there don't have the guts like how artists have. Like how people don't have the guts to questions about UiTM, how me and Jamal did in POHLITHIK. People don't have the courage to say about depression like how most artists does. So yeah, artists have this huge role in society to make people aware. And then I think I'm very, very glad that I'm an artist now. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right, that's a very good conclusion for the session. So thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah, so to all those who are watching this live, I have to thank you for joining us. This is happening as like a series. We will run this for 5 evenings. So today is the first session. So if you call it like this is season 1, we have 5 episodes. So this is episode 1. So if you like it, you can come back and join us tomorrow night, also at 8 p.m. Malaysia time. So consecutive 5 nights, we will run this up until 15th of April. And so by that, I would end this whole session by wishing all of you good health and stay home and wash your hands and stay healthy. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jan.
Sorry, thanks.